The Lost Heir. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between lush forests and sparkling rivers, there ruled a wise and noble king, Auron, and his beloved queen, Isolde. Their reign was prosperous, their subjects content, and their palace a marvel of beauty. The kingdom was said to be blessed by the gods, and the king and queen were well loved for their fairness and kindness. However, despite the joy in the kingdom, there was one thing missing in heir. King Auron and Queen Isolde longed for a child, their hearts aching with the hope of one day having a son to pass their kingdom to. For years, they prayed to the gods, and finally, their prayers were answered. One starry night, Queen Isolde gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, whom they named Leandro. The entire kingdom rejoiced, and the celebration lasted for days. The newborn prince brought joy to everyone's hearts, and it was said that his hair, as it first glistened in the sun, shimmered with a rare, golden hue like strands of the sun itself. It was a sign of greatness, they said, that this child was destined for something extraordinary. But not all was as it seemed. A dark force had been watching from the shadows. A powerful wizard named Moras had long sought to take control of the kingdom. He desired not only the throne, but to hold the world's magic in his hands. When he saw the newborn prince, he recognized something within the child, a potential for power unlike anything he'd ever seen. Fearing that the child would grow too powerful and ruin his plans, Moras kidnapped young Leandro under the cover of night. Using dark magic, he whisked the infant away to a hidden mountain lair, far from the eyes of the kingdom. The king and queen searched for their son for years, but Moras was clever. The wizard made sure that no one could find the boy, and he raised Leandro as his own, manipulating the child's mind from an early age. As the years passed, the boy who grew into a young man was trained in the arts of war and magic. Leandro, unaware of his true heritage, came to admire Moras. He was told that the kingdom had wronged him and that his parents were cruel rulers who had cast him aside. Moras filled Leandro's heart with hatred, convincing him that he was destined to take vengeance on the people who had abandoned him. Leandro grew into a warrior unlike any other, mastering combat and the magical arts. His golden hair, still as bright as the day he was born, became a symbol of his power and potential. Moras, seeing how strong his protege had become, began to sow seeds of rebellion, whispering that the time had come to overthrow the rulers of the kingdom. And so, Leandro set out with Moras' dark army, marching toward the kingdom he never knew was his own. The people of the land trembled as they heard the news of a powerful, golden-haired warrior leading an army against their beloved king and queen. When Leandro arrived at the gates of the castle, he was met by the royal army. He fought with unmatched skill and strength, his golden hair gleaming in the sunlight as he clashed with the soldiers. Each swing of his sword sent enemies flying, and the ground trembled beneath his powerful footsteps. The king and queen, hearing of the destruction, rode out to meet the invader. When they saw the young man leading the charge, Queen Isolde's heart skipped a beat. Something in his face seemed familiar, but she couldn't place it. King Auron, too, felt an unexplainable connection to the warrior, but he couldn't understand why. With a final clash, Leandro stood before them, his sword raised high, eyes burning with the fury of 1,000 storms. "You," he bellowed, "you are the rulers who abandoned me, who left me to rot in the dark." His voice echoed through the land. The king and queen exchanged a look, and Queen Isolde's eyes filled with sorrow. "We never abandoned you," she said softly. "You are our son." Leandro faltered for a moment, confusion flickering in his eyes. The words tugged at something deep within him, but the years of hatred and manipulation that Moras had instilled in him were too strong. "Lies," he shouted. "You abandoned me. You let me be taken." At that moment, a burst of dark magic interrupted their conversation. Moras appeared, his face twisted with malice. "Enough," he shouted. "Your parents cannot be trusted, Leandro. They are your enemies, not your kin." Leandro's heart raced. The battle between the king and the wizard ensued. Magic crackled in the air, swords clashed, and the kingdom seemed to hold its breath. But in the heat of the battle, Leandro felt something shift, something deep within him that whispered truths that he had never considered before. He began to notice the small details, the way the queen's voice trembled when she spoke, the way the king had looked at him not as an enemy, but as a son. The hatred that had burned so fiercely within him began to waver, and confusion started to cloud his mind. As the battle raged on, a memory resurfaced, the sound of a lullaby, the warmth of a mother's embrace, and the golden hair that had once sparkled in the sunlight. It all clicked. "No," Leandro cried, turning on Moras. "You lied to me. You stole me away. These are my parents." Moros's eyes widened, fury replacing the calm control he had once held over Leandro. "You fool," he spat. "You will never be a true heir of this kingdom. You will never defeat me." But the truth was now burning in Leandro's heart. His strength, once fueled by lies and manipulation, now came from a deep, unshakable resolve to restore peace. With a mighty roar, Leandro turned his magic against Moras. His golden hair glowed with radiant power as the magic within him surged. The wizard tried to fight back, but Leandro's power was too great. The dark forces of Moras cracked and crumbled, and in a final, thunderous burst of energy, Moras was defeated, his dark magic dissipating into the air like smoke. The battle ended as quickly as it had begun, and the castle fell silent. Leandro turned to face his parents. His golden hair, now not just a symbol of power, but of his true heritage, shimmered like the dawn. Tears filled his eyes as he dropped to his knees. "Forgive me," he whispered, "for everything I've done." Queen Isolde and King Aron rushed to his side, embracing their son with all the love they had held for him through all the years of his absence. "You have restored peace to our kingdom, my son," King Aron said, his voice filled with pride. "You are the true heir, the one we've always loved." From that day on, Leandro ruled the kingdom alongside his parents. No longer the lost heir, but the wise and powerful prince who had defeated the darkness that had once threatened his kingdom. Under his rule, the kingdom flourished, and the people hailed him as a hero, a golden-haired prince who had reclaimed his destiny. And as for Moras, his name became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of manipulation and lies. The kingdom was at peace, and the lost hair, once the symbol of a stolen childhood, now stood as a symbol of hope and redemption. The end.